Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Retro Ranking. And this week is something that I started a little while ago, and you seem to think and enjoy this. It's where I go through an album about artists' albums, and I pick one track from each album and just talk a little bit about it. Some of them are not my favourites, but it's just a case of looking for outstanding tracks or memorable tracks. This is what this is all about. So today we're doing Deep Purple. I think you all know one of my favourite bands of all time. So what we do, we start at the beginning and just go through each album. And if you've never seen one of these, you'll get the gist of this. So it all started in 1968 for Deep Purple with the Shades of Deep Purple. There's some really good tracks on this. It was Mark 1. We've got Mandrake Route, which is pretty cool, and One More Rainy Day. But for me, it has to be Hush. It's got some really good guitar work from Richie, even in them days. And of course, it's got some wonderful Hammond organ from Mr. John Lord. It's an excellent track. I did re-record it with Ian Gillan, but I think this is the best version. Okay, also in 1968, they brought out their second album, Book of Towers Lynn. There's some good tracks on here. There's some really dodgy tracks on this one as well. I mean, I love the cover they did of Neil Diamond's Kentucky Woman. Excellent track, and I love Anthem. But to me, and this is my favourite track on this album, it's Wring That Neck. Just simply wonderful. This is showing what Deep Purple would come. The maestro, John Lord's keyboard work is great. Richie and Ian and John, just brilliant. Got Nick on the bass. It's pretty good. It's a cracking track. You can't go wrong with that one. Okay, move on to 1969, the third album, Deep Purple. Again, there's lots of covers on this. The Painter's pretty good though. Some real good funky tunes, same with April. But the one that I've gone for on this is Chasing Shadows. It's Mr. Pace's drumming. It's fantastic. It's got a groove. Again, it just shows where they wanted to go. They wanted to get away from the pop. Okay, 1970. All change at Deep Purple. In comes Mr. Gillan and Mr. Glover. And out comes the magnificent Deep Purple in Rock. My favourite album. How many great tracks on here. Child in Time, absolute classic. Into the Fire, but I've gone for the opening track, Speed King. You put that on and you just get that wall of sound of noise and licks and drums, and then you get that sultry keyboard introduction, and then Gillan comes in and blasts you away. It's absolutely killer track. Always will remind one of my favourite opening tracks of any of the Deep Purple albums. Okay, we go on to 1971 and Fireball. Some really good tracks on here. Of course, Fireball itself is pretty cool. Then we got Fools, which is a lovely track. No One Came. That great bit of bass. But I've always gone to Demon's Eye. I just love the start of that. It's a great track. It's a fine vocal for me, and it's just a real good track. Never saw them do that live. Okay, 1972. It's starting to real wind up now, and we've got the wonderful Machine Head. Okay, it's got Smoke on the Water, one of the most overplayed songs in the world. It's still okay. Pictures of Home is just fantastic, and the bluesy, lazy, but I think everyone knows what one I like on there. Opening track, another of my favourite opening tracks. Absolute killer Highway Star. I think it's some of the best guitar work that Richie ever did with Deep Purple. It's got that classic keyboard solo from John on it. The drumming from Iain on this is fantastic. It's just a killer track. Lots of people have covered it, and the most recent one I saw is a little band from the Philippines, a family band called Mission Souls, and they do an absolutely killer version of it. Okay, 1973, we are up to Who Do We Think We Are, the last of the Mark II before until 84. We've got Woman from Tokyo, which is a corker. Super Troopers, fantastic. But my favourite on here is Rat Bat Blue. It's just got a Roger bass line that is brilliant. Again, John Lord's wonderful Hammond organs on here. Ian Pace is on fire, and Mr. Gillan is actually fantastic on this. Okay, again, it's all change at Deep Purple. In comes David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, and from 1974 we get Burn. Some great tracks off here. The Might Just Take Your Life, a fantastic track. The Brilliant Mistreated, but it has to go with the title track, don't you? Burn. It's up there with Highway Star. This is just great. It's just one of them great opening tracks. Again, Richie, the guitar solo is brilliant. John Law's keyboard solo. Great vocal between Glenn and David as well. It's just an absolute belter, isn't it? Okay, 1974 again, the second album, Richie's Last, for a little while, and it's Stormbringer. It's not got the same punch as Burn, but it has some good tracks on it. The title track, Stormbringer, for starters, and Lady Double Dealer, brilliant. But for me, my favourite, well, it is my favourite track on here, and it's The Gypsy. It's proper Deep Purple, and I think it's got the best work from Richie on this album. So Richie's had enough of this soulful rubbish, and he goes off and forms Rainbow. So they bring in Tommy Bolin for the Come Taste the Band album from 1975. Now, a lot of people poo-poo this, but it has got some great tracks on it. Lady Luck, I love that, and Love Child, but I love You Keep On Moving, that real sultry track. It's got a great bass line from Glenn Hughes. I think it's the best song that him and David sang together. It's got some lovely keyboard work from John. And that was it after that. But in 1984, Mark II got back together, and we all was happy, and we all went off to Nebworth in 85 in the rain. But before that, they brought out a new album. From 1984, we've got Perfect Strangers. I like this album. Knocking at Your Back Door, classic. A Gypsy's Kick, but it's the wonderful Perfect Strangers, or the Perfect Street Rangers, as Ian Gillan calls it. Absolutely brilliant. It quite harks back to the great days. Some great guitar work. That haunting keyboard from John Lord, and it was fantastic on stage with the laser beams and all that good stuff. Okay, 1987, after a big world tour, they go back to the studio and they come up with The House of the Blue Light. Probably not the best of albums, but there are two great tracks. Unwritten Law, loved Ian Pace's drumming. Spanish Archer, I think it's a real good rolling track, but the best track on here is the opening track, Bad Attitude. It's the strongest track on the album. The Hammond organ from Mr. Lauder at the beginning is brilliant, and then he closes the track as well. I like that track. It's really got something going to me. Okay, it doesn't end. The old cracks appear, don't they? Blackmore and Gillan fall out. Out goes Ian Gillan. Richie brings in his old mate from Rainbow, Jolene Turner, in 1990 for the Slave and Masters. I've always said this, you know, it's a bad Deep Purple album, but a pretty good Rainbow album, because you've got three members of Rainbow on it. Slave and Masters, There's not much on here I like. Fire in the Basement, pretty cool track, and I like the opening track, King of Dreams. Probably the best track on there. Okay, they're coming up to their 20th anniversary, so either some anniversary. They wanted to, so they got rid of Joe Lynn Turner, which Richie didn't like, and they brought back in Iain Gillan for 1993's The Battle Rages on. Saw them on this tour. It's the last time I saw Mark II. It was a bit of a shambles, that Birmingham gig. But there's some good tracks on this, and the Battle Rages on the title track's pretty cool. And Solitaire, I love that. But my favourite track on there is Anya. It's got that little bit of greatness on it. It's got a great guitar solo from Richie. Iain sounds fantastic on it. Okay, halfway through that tour, Richie says, "That's it, I've had enough," and goes. Wish that wouldn't happen. So in comes Steve Morse from Dixie Dregs and Kansas, and we have the Perpendicular album from 1996. Absolutely great album. We've got Vavoom, Ted the Mechanic, absolutely cracking track. I love Somebody Stole My Guitar, but I think this is one of the song I love on here is the wonderful Sometimes I Feel Like Screaming, which is probably one of Iain Gillan's last really killer vocals. It's up there with Highway Star and Child in Time, and Steve Morse's guitar work is fantastic on it. Really good track. Okay, 1998, Abandon comes out. This is one of the darker albums from Deep Purple. I really like this album. You've got Any Fool Know that, and then we got Jack Ruby, but I love She Was. I love that sort of fuzzy John Lord keyboard, lovely riff, and then you got a great guitar riff, and it's pretty cool. And this, of course, was John Lord's last album because he was getting poorly with his hip and he couldn't keep up with the thing. So this was the last time we heard John Lord on a Deep Purple album. Okay, 2003, new keyboard player. Some up and coming bloke called Don, who's been around for many years. Don Airey, of course, played with everybody. So Bananas, again, it's not the best of albums. I hate the cover, but some really good tracks on here. Razzle Dazzle, brilliant track. Contact Loss, good. House of Pain is the best track on here. I love the guitar work from Steve on it. And you got Don Airey doing some lovely little keyboard bits on it. Fantastic. Okay, 2005. This is, I can't believe this is the last time I saw Deep Purple, on the Rapture of the Deep. Some great tracks on this. It's a real strong album. Money Talks, love that. Rapture of the Deep, excellent track. But the one that does it to me is The Wrong Man. You've got that lovely combo of Steve and Don. Brilliant track. Then there's a huge gap until 2013, and the Now What album come out. Pretty strong album. I like this. Après-Vu's good. The quirky Vincent Price, but for me it has to be Above and Beyond because it's the tribute to John Lord. Love the words, and Don does some lovely keyboard, and it's so fitting. I mean, what a person to take over from John in Deep Purple. Don Airey, brilliant stuff. I love that song. Okay, 2017, Infinite, another cracking album. Some great tracks on here. Johnny's Band, Birds of Prey, but it's that opening track, Time for Bedlam. The sort of voice, and I think it's brilliant. Steve Moore's guitar work is fantastic on, and you got Don Airey's great keyboards, and Ian Pace, solid as a rock all the way through Deep Purple. Great track. 2020, you get Whoosh. Some really, really good tracks on this. Throw My Bones, brilliant track. What the What, but my favourite, it's called Nothing at All, and it's got a lovely keyboard bit from Don. Some of his best work that he's done with Deep Purple. A lovely guitar solo from Steve Morse, Roger Glover and Ian Pace, the engine room of this band for many, many years. It comes up with a corker. And then we have The White Elephant in the Room, the album that nobody wanted from 2021, Turning to Crime. Don't like this album, but the only track that's worth listening to is their version of White Room. The rest, no. And for many years we thought, is this going to be their last album? But thankfully, Steve Morse left, not because he'd had enough. His late wife was very poorly and he wanted to look after, and the band said, okay. And in comes Simon McBride, which is who has appeared on other stuff with Don Airey, and he's a fantastic guitarist. And in 2024 they brought out Equals One, and I thought this was a brilliant album, one of the best albums of 2024 in my books. And there's some great tracks on here. Now You're Talking, a great track, Lazy Sod, but it's Portable Door. It's the track that says, hello, I'm Simon McBride and I now play for Deep Purple. His guitar work on that is phenomenal. Watching him on stage with the band doing the classics, it fits in like, it's like an old pair of slippers. And everyone speaks highly of him, saying he's brought that zing back into the band. I love this track. Ian Gillan sounds great on it. They've altered everything so he doesn't have to do all the shrieking, but it just sounds fantastic, and it's a great album. So there we go, a little quick tour of Deep Purple. Okay, that's 4 done. We'll be back tomorrow, and yes, it's another busy day. Apart from being doing the Summer Dozens, which is Primal Scream tomorrow, we've got 2 more birthdays. We've got James, one of Hugh's cousins, and Matt from America, who's been a supporter of the channel for many moons. So it's their birthdays tomorrow. So another busy day of a busy week. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.